Alright, and welcome to my second Tempest review of the day. Again, when I shot the earlier Tempest, I had no idea that the next episode was due out in like 5 minutes after I did the first review. So, here's the second review. You're going to get it back to back. This was going to be a little better, maybe not as disjointed as the first one. Alright, basically, starts off with a flashback. We see them a year ago, obviously, when the sister was alive. And she's talking about, she's asked her brother how, about his first kiss and what's it like to kiss somebody. And, you had, see, and again, I'm going to cheat because I don't know their names by memory yet. Yoshino. He's like, I've never kissed anybody, I don't know. And then Maharu is like, you're too young for that. You don't even have a boyfriend. Like, cut it out. You're my sister. Ew, basically. And, he don't want her anywhere near it. And, so, I don't know, they're on their way to school. She goes ahead of them, and he's like, yeah, nobody's gonna date my sister. Fuck that. Meanwhile, Yoshino gets a text message from her saying, they're gonna make out tomorrow or something like that. They'll go out tomorrow, and because they're secretly dating. Obviously, that's his girl, and they're secretly in love, and so it's rough because he's in love with his best friend's sister, and he hasn't figured out a way to tell him yet. Then we flash back into reality, and one thing about the murder that was kind of revealed on last episode, but I didn't really talk about it that much. The murder, I think, had to do with magic, and then later on this episode, we almost get that confirmation, just because of the pattern of the blood and the way it was laid out. And it turns out that thing that looked like a monster awakening is a fruit, and when all these fruits are together, they're going to merge and become this beast or something, and that's when they're all fucked. So there's a lot of just walking around the town. There's a lot of people dead because they're all, everybody's pretty much dead. They're all turned to, they're all turned to iron, and so they're talking. He's getting more, and it turns out the princess's clan is the one responsible for this. And Segura, I forget his name, something with an S. And again, guys, I'm going to get better at these names, and hopefully by next week I'm going to know them all, so I don't need to cheat and look. But I'll look. I think it's I think that the villain's name is this. Let's see. It's Samon. So Samon or Simon. It's not Simon, but it's Samon. Samon. I think that's how they pronounce it, right? And basically, he's also in the clan, and he had her removed and placed in an island because she's the head of the clan. Because he's gonna do something that's forbidden, which is the Tree of Life thing, and he's the one responsible for all this death. So, so they go back, and she explains this all to him. So they go back to the house, his house, not his house, Maharu's house, where the murder took place. And it turns out his magic is fake. Well, not fake, it's just, he uses talismans for magic, I think. I know he uses talismans, and they wear out on him. But I wonder if he also is being taught how to use the magic too. So it's a little bit of both. So basically, and he gives him items too. He gives him some items, and he's like, these are for speed and defense. Hold on to these, and it'll protect you from turning into iron, the black iron. And he stabs the knife in the center of the room, because this is part of trying to figure out who killed his sister. And then these weird, shadow tentacle things go throughout the room, and they fill up the room, and I guess they're getting evidence for her, and it's going to take a while. So he's like, you know, Moharo's like, hey, you know, you need to get out of here. You're not going to stick with me. And he's like, well, you don't need my help? He's like, no, you know, I don't need your help. Go home, go to your family. Your parents are going to be worried. You didn't even like my sister. And one of these days, you got to show me that girlfriend. He goes, after I get my revenge, you know, come introduce me to that girlfriend of yours. And it's rough, because obviously his girlfriend was his sister, and his sister's obviously dead. So so basically he just agreed to fill him in on who he was really in love with. And so he bounces. And on his way, he finds those dudes from the previous episode that beat him up, and they still have his wallet. He finds his wallet on the ground. He picks it up, puts it in his pocket, and then he's ambushed by that chick. And I can't remember, for the life of me, I don't even know this chick's name. They said it briefly in the anime once on the first episode, and it didn't stick with me. I'm horrible with names. You know, some of these other reviewers out there, they are quick with the uptake on these names, man. I am not. But whatever. So he gets ambushed by this chick, who puts a gun to his knee and threatens. She wants to know what's going on to take care of the situation, and he uses the talismans, like smashes her into the building across the street, takes her gun, and runs away. And he runs to a school, and she chases him, she gasses him, shoots at him. They go into they get to the roof, you know, they go to the roof. And at the same time, they switch over to Moharo, and the knife is done. You don't actually get, like, they cut out in between to find out what she said about who did it. But I think, but what she says afterwards is the clue, which is, this happened, I'm so sorry, this happened before, how did I not know about it? This happened right before I was exiled. And he's like, I'm not going to blame you, you're a hapless princess who got who got put in a barrel and shipped out to sea. Like, I'm not going to blame you for this is obviously not your fault. So, obviously, she basically mentioned, like, who knew the two were related, basically. So, obviously, their clan killed his sister. That's what they're alluding to. They didn't directly say it. They indirectly said it. So, she was killed for some magical purpose. We have yet to figure that out. And then he runs into this spear user from her clan. And then they throw down. You know, and again, this guy's using talismans. We think that's what implied, that he really doesn't have magical powers on his own. So he's fighting a real magic user, a real mage, and he's a fake mage basically. And she's warning him not to fight this guy. So the two main characters of the show are each having epic fights. And now let's go back to the roof. She's scared. You know, he gets the drop on her. She drops her weapons. He has a gun towards her. And she analyzes the situation. She's like, this kid is going to shoot me. He'd shoot me. He doesn't seem to care. He's not shaky. He's stable. And in his eyes, there's no hesitation. Like, if he was going to shoot her, he'd shoot her, you know? And that frightens her a little bit. But she makes a move towards the gun because he makes a mistake and gets too close. Alright, so she makes a move. He uses the talisman. And he goes to give her a suplex on the ground head first. Like, he's holding her. And they jumped off the building, and she thought he was going to die. She was going to die. And basically what happened was the defense talisman kicked in, and it stopped before her head hit, and she was a little scared. And he still had the beat on her, and he's like, listen, let's cut this out and make a deal. She's like, a deal? And then they flash back to the fight. Meanwhile, this fight is getting good. It's really good. I really dig the fights in this. I think they're the right amount of violence for the show so far. And he's basically saying, it turns out I can't leave my friend alone after all. He's going to need me. And she's like, and then they flash back to them, and she's like, you shouldn't, you shouldn't do this, basically. You shouldn't are you going to avenge the sister too? And he's like, you shouldn't be hanging out with him. You should just leave it alone. You're a regular person. And he's like, my girlfriend used to say the same thing to me. She goes, used to? Thinking maybe she died, but just got turned to fucking metal. And he's like, no, this has nothing to do with that. She didn't die from there. I stopped seeing her about a year ago, and then she starts putting two together and realizes that that's the same time the sister died. And she's like, you used to date his sister, and he's like, yeah. And she's like, are you going to avenge the death too? And then his point of view is very different. He's very rational. He's like, listen, revenge isn't going to get me anything. What can I do to avenge a dead girlfriend in this world? It's if it's irrational behavior, it's irrational behavior. He's like, maybe one day I'll find out. And he's walking off into the distance. There's like an explosion. So he's very, what you get out of this, and this is pretty much how the episode ends. And what you get out of this is he's very calm, cool, collected. He's like almost cold-blooded, whereas his friend is a hothead. He's all about fiery passion. So it's fire and ice, these two guys. This is why one is cold and analytical, and one has a fiery temper and natural potential for violence. So the two of them, that's why they make such a good team. That's why they're best friends. They basically complete each other because they're opposites. And I dig that. I dig that the main two characters, one has a penchant for revenge and crazy violence skills. The other one could be considered a cold-blooded killer, although he hasn't killed anybody yet. So I dig that. And I dig, basically, if they don't stop this, excuse me, the world, or if not Japan, is going to end. And I like this chick, too, man. I like her character, too. Again, I don't know her name. I'm sorry. Dark-haired chick with the guns. Because she's quick on her feet. I love her attitude. I love the character. So far. So, now that I've seen the second episode, I'm liking this show even more. I'm going to give this episode, whereas the first episode I gave like a 3, I'm going to give this episode a 4. I thought the fact that we're getting some answers rather fast. Not all the answers, but we're getting somewhere, and I like that, because a lot of times in these shows, you tend to get little crumbs of information, and you won't get the big picture in the end. And I'm not saying we won't get the big picture for another episode or two, but at least in this one, a large chunk of it we learned, or the character learns. So I dig that. I dig that this mystery is not going to, I'm sure the true and 100% of the motives is going to take time, but at least we're getting big chunks of knowledge right away, and I like that. So the story's progressing further. There's going to be cool fights. Already, this fight with the spear user is awesome, and I dig it. So, the villain looks kind of cool, even though he's a big redheaded dude, samurai guy. I think I'm liking this. So, again, I rated a 4 out of 5 because I say this was a great episode. I enjoyed it. This is definitely a show you want to check out. It's all, again, like I said, it's only on the second episode, so it's not a problem catching up. All right, so this is Alert Wolf saying, click it up if you like it. Comment it if you must. Subscribe as you can, if you can. I say subscribe, shit, just subscribe. But this is Alert Wolf signing off.